Things just got very real for Ja Morant. Not only is the NBA investigating, the Colorado police did before deciding not to charge. There is a soundbite from an NBA legend that will blow your mind about Ja. If things go bad, this ruins the Grizzlies season and derails Ja's career. But the NBA is trying to figure out where that gun was before his IG Live in Denver. That is key because if he brought it with him on the team plane, this could get ugly. The CBA says players cannot take firearms on a team plane, or the commissioner can suspend for as long as he wants. Some people said it was 50 games, but that's not true. 50 games is what Gilbert Arenas got, but this is horrible timing. The playoffs start 20 games from now. His only hope is to blame it on like one of his friends. The video shows friends at the club, so I guess he could say that a friend flew private to Denver and just gave him the gun for the video. The classic fall guy in the entourage. But everyone now has a message for Ja Morant. Shaq is telling Ja, you're not a rapper, so quit. Stephen A has advice. Jalen Rose went off. But there's one guy that Ja should listen to. There's a story from a player who got in a lot of trouble himself that puts this whole thing in perspective. But first, today's sponsor is PrizePicks. I am lucky. I have been winning a lot with PrizePicks lately, but the good news is, even when I lose, I always have fun. That is why I play PrizePicks. I look at NBA games I'm gonna watch anyway, so I make a couple of picks and I get to enjoy that game even more. Now, I am going to give you my picks for today, and again, I said I was hot, but there are no guarantees. First up, OG Anunoby's points, rebounds, and assists. Honestly, he should smash that number. It kind of makes me nervous. And then just points and assists, we're going with Darius Garland. And I'm gonna go more and more, because that's how I roll. If you take these picks, let me know. Again, hopefully this roll we're on continues. You can play PrizePicks in a lot of states like Florida, California, or Texas. And if you are signing up for the first time, use the promo code AMHOOPS and you will get a 100% deposit match bonus. But I do not think the NBA will suspend Ja for the playoffs. That's not like this commissioner. Adam Silver needs Ja Morant. He's the only young American superstar outside of Jason Tatum. I would include Zion and LaMelo, but we're not sure about them yet. Ja is a blockbuster talent and available. This isn't Allen Iverson. The NBA did not want to embrace AI because of his bad boy image. Ja is clean until now. Stories came out that people think Ja's car pointed a gun at Pacers players. A 17-year-old said Ja beat him up this summer and then pointed a gun at him. So Ja's lawyer responded, any and every allegation involving a firearm has been fully investigated and could not be corroborated. And then Ja waves a gun on an IG Live at a place called Shotgun Willie's. I'm serious. That is the actual name of the strip club. You can't make that up. So, Ja went full damage control. He stepped away from the team and put out a statement. I take full responsibility for my actions last night. I'm sorry for letting you down. I'm gonna take some time away to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with my stress and overall well-being. Nice, but people immediately called it a fake apology. His PR team wrote it. Until we see Ja on video, it means nothing. He's just trying to not lose money from his sponsors like Powerade and Nike. Oh, perfect timing. Your team's going to make the playoffs, so Ja just rests up before then. But something made me pause. Now, this is not the crazy soundbite that you have to hear. We'll get to that in a bit. But Ja opened up. His mental health is not good.
One of my favorite quotes was, you don't realize you're drowning when you're trying to be everyone else's anchor. You know, sometimes you gotta, put yourself first, like your health, no matter what it is. Like, I'm always making sure everybody else straight, but sometimes I gotta, worry about me. And normally that's the times, when I be in a dark place, when I'm trying to make sure everybody else good and knowing I'm not good.
Then Ja said that he hasn't tried therapy yet, but he's open to it. So if he's got this gigantic crew and a big family all depending on him financially, on top of carrying an NBA team, can you imagine that kind of stress? So when he gets upset, like with the 17-year-old kid, he snaps. So I know it's easy to be negative about Ja's statement, but what if this is a wake-up call to realize that his mental health needs work. I hope that's true because normally a big incident like this wakes people up, but not always. The longest suspensions ever are Ron Artest for the malice in the palace, Latrell Sprewell for choking his coach PJ Carlesimo, and Gilbert Arenas for bringing guns into the Wizards locker room. Arenas and Sprewell never really got their act together and were out of the league a lot sooner than they should have been. Artest learned his lesson, completely changed, ended up being a champion. But all 3 suspensions were done by Commissioner David Stern. Dude was hard on players. He took over the NBA when players were having drug problems. The image of the league was in trouble and Stern turned it around. He had help with players like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Michael Jordan, but Stern was not to be messed with. May look like a short, nerdy dude, but he was like the stepdad that you don't want to piss off. He was obsessed with the image of the NBA. He put a dress code for players when they sat out games. Guys used to wear like street clothes, whatever they wanted. Then they were wearing suits on the bench, and players hated Stern for that, but his tough approach saved the league, especially Carmelo Anthony. Without David Stern, we don't get Hall of Fame Melo. In 2004, he was busted for 3 different things. First, Melo punched a guy at a nightclub. Then he was caught with an ounce of weed on a team plane. Then he was on an underground video threatening people who talked to police. What? Melo still had the street mentality in the NBA, like Ja Morant. But in 2006, David Stern had enough. Melo punched another player during a game, but got a wake-up call from the commissioner.
David Stern suspended me out of everybody 15 games. Everybody else got like 6 games, 7 games, shit like that. And I go speak to him like, why you do me like that?
What did he tell you?
Man, your rap sheet.
A rap sheet?
Man, look.
NBA rap sheet.
NBA. You want to be in the streets or you want to be in the NBA?
This what he told you?
That's what in his office. You want to be in the streets or you want to be in the NBA? You f***ing with a corporation now. You gonna leave that alone. I know who you with. I know where you live at. I know where they live at. Either tell them to stop or you gotta cut them off. And I'm like, damn, like how the like I get it. If I'm giving you,
all
you know,
money.
$100 million, I need to know everything. I didn't understand that at that point in time. It took me to be old, get older, get wiser, to be like, damn, that motherfucker made sense.
Now, can you imagine Adam Silver having that same conversation with Ja Morant, basically threatening him? If this was David Stern, the suspension would have been handed down already. Instead, we're all like reading through the CBA, seeing what it says about guns on team planes. What is going on? Yes, Stern was harsh, but who cares about tough love? It could save a career. So far, we haven't heard anything about a meeting between Ja and Adam Silver, but I hope one comes soon. Right now, the Grizzlies are in trouble, even if Ja Morant doesn't get suspended for the playoffs. They are depending on Tyus Jones right now at point guard, who is really good, and historically, they are good without Ja Morant, but they could slip down in the standings. And Brandon Clark, who is their best guy off the bench, just tore his Achilles. But the Grizzlies are already the most hated team in the NBA. They have taken that title from the Phoenix Suns, which is insane. Like 2 years ago, they were the up-and-coming young team. Every single thing was fun about them, and everybody was basically rooting for their success. And it's not just Ja saying I'm fine in the West or Dylan Brooks running his mouth. There's a spicy story about how the Grizzlies have become villains. Check it out.